Welcome to Pound4Pound ATL, arguably the best place to get facts and opinions on your Atlanta Falcons. And absolutely the best place to get your opinions in. The guys are here, the chat is ready, and the conversation starts now.
What's going on, football fans? It's your crew live once again, Pound4Pound ATL. It's me, J.R. Clark. I'm joined by all my guys here. Jimmy, what's going on, brother?
Hey, it's your boy Jimbo Dean, a.k.a. Jimbo Slice, a.k.a. Jimmy Obama. And you can comment any one of those you want, but please don't comment on New Orleans Saints fan. NFL new season has started, and happy St. Patrick's Day to you all. What's going on, Mike?
Hey, you said it well. I couldn't have said it better myself. First and foremost, happy St. Patrick's Day to you guys out there, everywhere. Word of the week this week is green. Like I said, it's St. Patrick's Day. Word of the week is green. Free agency. A lot of green is being spent, especially at the tight end position. Now, we hadn't really gotten into that green sweepstakes yet, right? But I think that, it's really interesting this week that we talk about the color green, because we're going to talk about it a lot in this show. Toby D, talk to these people.
Man, happy new league year, man. It's time to officially get the season started, right? Now, even though we hadn't got it started that much in free agency, but it's all good. Hey, I still believe in what Terry is going to bring to the table with him and Arthur Smith. Hey, and I'm just going to give it some time, guys. I'm going to give it some time. I got to admit, I had to look at the bright and positives. We did sign some people, just not the people that we would like to have here in the Atlanta Falcons uniform right now.
No, you're right. And as y'all figured out, it is the start of free agency in an official sense. We are a couple days into the legal tampering. We're official, right? All the things that we've been reading since Sunday, right? Your trades, the reported signings, stuff like that. And as Toby alluded to, we've done some signings. We've been active, just not in to be active, right? I think we've re-signed all of our restricted free agents. The Younghoe Koos, the Brandon Grahams, what was the Tyler Hall, Christian Blake, your boy Christian Blake is back on the team.
What's up,
Jimbo Slice?
Now,
Jimbo Slice.
you could say it was a big move in a sense. We put a second round grade on Matt Gano, which I thought that was kind of interesting. That's telling in a sense right there. So you're paying Matt Gano $3 million to be on the team for.
Yep.
And then the other moves that we have been making in free agency have been what we all alluded to and what we all knew was coming and knew was going to happen. You restructured Jake Matthews' deal, freed up some space there. Yeah. Now this one was interesting. I was expecting a deal to keep him on the roster. So Dean Pease must have liked what he saw on tape as far as nose tackle goes. And then you got the restructure of the pay cut of Dante Fowler today.
Yeah.
Right.
That kind of shows you that they're betting that in a system like Pease and a healthy year, that maybe Dante Fowler can get closer to that double-digit sacks that he had in L.A. So maybe they're betting on that, and we'll get into that as the show goes on. But now, let's just go ahead and jump into the monkey in the room, the elephant, the whatever you want to call it. The team restructured Matt Ryan's deal. Okay? Like for the fourth time, right? Like right now, according to Spotrac, Matt Ryan has a dead cap hit of $68 million. So, you're not... I say definitely, but it's hard to see them moving on from him next year. Maybe. Now, what this did, I'm going to go ahead and read Stu the Pepperhead's comment because he tipped us $5. He said, he said, I'm not even going to try the first part of that statement. Something Irish, I believe. It says, thanks to the Irish Matty Ryan for being Matty Ryan and restructuring.
Yeah.
Pint o' Guinness to that for that lad. Exactly. You know, that's a Matt Ryan doing what asked of him to help the team out. Because regardless of what you thought going into this, my audio keeps cutting off. Let me see something. Thank you for that speed. We always have something, don't we?
Appreciate it, Steve.
Anyway, so
Yes, yeah.
knew going into this that you weren't going to be able to field a full team without restructuring Matt Ryan. I mean,
Right.
no way I looked at it, I was like, I don't see how you can do it otherwise. Now, it was going to, and that's something I said before, it was going to tell me a lot whether they did it or didn't. Now, we're going to get into this comment here in a minute about a quote from, audio's in and out. What's going on with my audio, folks? Talk about his restructure while I try to figure this out.
And I start on really quick. I don't know. I'm finna go here. I don't know if I would have restructured. I would have extended. Now y'all can, hey, don't shoot me for being honest. But the thing is, this is with me. You don't want to bring a quarterback in here too early where he can sit for too long. Okay, look at that kid over there at Green Bay. I remember when the New England Patriots brought in Jimmy Garoppolo, he didn't even get to see the field. Now, I guarantee you the Patriots needed that help at that pick if they would have chose someone that can come in there and help them right now. That's kind of where we at right now. If you look over that restructure, we need somebody to come in and help right now. I don't know if y'all noticed, but the Super Bowl champion had 2 pass rushers that was causing havoc. Hushawn Reddick just went to the Panthers, and they got Burns over there. That's 2 more pass rushers that's finna cause havoc. I don't know if y'all noticed, but the Saints got pass rushers that be beating Matt Ryan to death, causing havoc. Now, I'm not just the one that finna preach. I want to do what's best for the Atlanta Falcons franchise. That's what I'm all about. But if I want to try to win right now, Arthur Smith eyes and Terry Fontenot's eyes, that's what I want to do. If I got a chance to, why not try to do it? This is a different regime, and we got to understand they are unorthodox about what they're doing over there, and they got more film. I guarantee you, I can put every last dollar in my pocket. They got more better film than we got right about now on their players that they got in that organization, and then they know what they want to do. We don't know that. We ain't watching film. We not in the room with them. So let's try to look at this restructure as a way of getting a year-by-year pass, getting us on to the next year. I would have extended them in my eyes just to free up even more money. That restructure is kicking it down the road, but at the same time, maybe they think they can win right now. So what's your thoughts on that? Because I'm almost getting fired up real early, and I really don't want to do that.
I can tell, Jimbo, you already fired up over there.
No, I want them fired up. I like this. And guess what? And Toby, keep the fire going because I got more fire behind your fire, but you give them the fire first. Keep going, Toby.
I hate that you use the word kicking the can down the road because that's what Terry F said they were not going to do.
Right.
Yet going back and alluding to what JR was getting ready to say while he was working on the audio issues, talking about the quote we heard about, he felt like they had no other options. I that kind of concerns me, fellas. It really does. Because you know, as they say, desperate times calls for desperate measures.
Desperate measures, correct.
And that seemed like a very desperate move when I felt like there's other options you did have. And JR, I'm going to let you talk about them options because you talked about them with the guy on Sport Track.
Right.
Woo.
To me, and I don't know why. Anyway, hopefully we're just going to keep powering through this. Anyway.
Okay.
The thing to me when that quote came out, it was a quote that caught me off guard a little bit because, to my knowledge, you haven't restructured Grady, you haven't restructured Debo Jones, you haven't restructured Julio Jones. Now I'm not advocating for any of those restructures. Felt like you had no other option. I don't know if I'm down with that. You see what I'm saying? I have a tough time. Quote from supposedly from Terry Fontenot, because to me, restructuring Matt Ryan was the easy button. Like to hit that one, that's like walking up and breaking the glass. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
On a
Right.
on a fire emergency, you pull the lever. That's easy. And still dropping out. That gummit. All right, but
Right.
I'm gonna work on that.
And let me
keep it up.
let me add one thing to that real quick, just to kind of round this out, right? And I'm really conflicted about the Matt Ryan restructure, and I'll tell you why. Because it's really tough, as we know, it's really tough to be a Falcons fan right now. And I'll tell you from the perspective, my perspective is this: we spent all of that time trying to beat Drew Brees and get Drew Brees on out of there, and our day finally came. Drew Brees is retired. We don't have to deal with Drew Brees anymore. But guess what? Right. We still got his big brother right there, and Tom Brady right in the division. Yep. So we not out the woods by any stretch of the matter. Matter of fact, it's worse for us right now. Now, what this Matt Ryan restructure tells me is one thing: Arthur Smith has made his first major milestone decision with this team. Meaning, we saw that the Bucs they extended Tom Brady for another 4 years, right? Now,
extended.
And listen now. And screw Tom Brady's age. Tom Brady can play as long as Tom Brady shows the willingness to play. Then we gave Matt Ryan another 4 when we worked it, right? We restructured it where I think that what Arthur Smith is saying to me, what it looks like is Matt Ryan gives us the best chance to compete with Tom Brady. Period. Like, my thing about it is like this: we don't talk enough about this. The Bucs are not slowing down, and the thing about it is, it's all about us right now. It's not about the other teams. And I don't like to spend a lot of time talking about other teams. But when you look at it's Matt Ryan is the only other veteran quarterback in this division that has a chance to compete. And I ask myself like this: I'm just going to be honest with you. Trey Lance is nice. Justin Fields is nice. Do any of those guys make you feel like they can come in right now and compete?
Not right away.
Against Tom Brady right now? Not right away, like I said. So ultimately right now, I think Arthur Smith is like, okay, quarterback situation is taken care of. Now, what we're going to do is start patching some of these other holes. Another point I want to add, too, about Tyler Davidson's rework deal is I do think that does potentially maybe give us, I look at a guy like Jarrell Casey for cheap, because I think our defensive line would look significantly better if you had a Jarrell Casey in the middle. You push Grady onto the outside and potentially a Tyler Davidson whose strength is against the run. You don't want Tyler Davidson in a DMP's defense, doing too much from the nose guard position anyway, because of the versatility complex, right? So I think what we're starting to do, man, just, the smoke is starting, like you said, we did the episode a couple weeks ago. We talked about the smoke clearing. Right now, the smoke is continuing to clear, and we starting to see a little bit how this team is moving. And it's actually, the more I see these moves, the more it just makes a little bit more sense. And I do think, again, as of today, I go on my hill and I stop right there. We are still a fringe playoff team. I think I'm going fringe playoff with hey, what can we do to be a fringe playoff team? And then we'll worry about beating Tom Brady, at another day. But, interesting time, though.
Yeah, it is.
Well, hopefully I got the audio fixed. Y'all let me know if it keeps dropping in or out. But it's always something, right? But the thing that caught me, now I want to read this one quote or one tweet.
Oh.
P4P, I will catch y'all after Bible study. Do you think the Falcons already have a plan in place to trade back given Ryan's restructure? That's something that we're going to get into here in just a minute.
Got to.
I think, okay, when the restructure first came out on, I gauge a lot of what we look at, via Twitter, right? That's where I kind of like get the initially hit. It was everybody freaking out like, well, I guess we're out of, drafting a quarterback at number 4. And then you saw the people who really want us to draft a quarterback start to rebuild their narrative. Like, they started to look at the numbers and all this other stuff, and, you could get out of it here by a post-June 1 cut and all this other stuff. Let's get real clear here, folks. Like, right out the rip, all right? Everybody knows Matt Ryan guy, right? I'm a Matt Ryan guy. I want Matt Ryan here until he retires. I'm going to put my for y'all to know. But let's just go ahead and call it. If they want to walk away from Matt Ryan, they can do it at any time. Okay? You know what I'm saying? Like, if they say I'm still dropping out. I don't know what's going on here.
They say he was
but
good.
we're going to have to keep pushing.
That road.
The deal there is that if the Saints have showed us anything, or if all of them have showed us anything, you can do whatever you want to and with the cap. Right? Numbers are just numbers. You can play with them how you need to play with them. If they feel like they need to get a quarterback in this,
Right.
I hate to see it. As you so alluded to earlier, Jimmy, I'm sure Belichick would have liked that pick that they used on Garoppolo that now is no longer on his team. You know what I'm saying? Right. But to me, if they want to pick up a quarterback at 4, they're going to do it regardless. I felt like you had to restructure Matt Ryan to be able to field a team with more than just undrafted players. Because that's what we were, that's what you were looking at. If you restructured everybody but Ryan, then you were looking at easier, but you're looking at fielding a team full of mostly undrafted agents, and that's what you were going to go to battle with. That would have clearly signaled to me that you weren't planning on winning the next 2 years. You see what I'm saying? Because you're kicking this can like, and saying that we're not even going to try to start competing until next year. And now you're talking about with still having to rebuild your roster. So what the restructure allowed them to do was save some money to go ahead. Every new regime that comes in is going to have to rebuild. Like, period.
Right.
Okay.
Right. And
go ahead.
And that whenever you bring in a new regime, right? Let's just think about this. Majority of the time, that first year is a grace period. We got to understand the game and the history of how new regime steps in. That is a grace period. The owner ain't looking at you crazy. The general manager's not looking at you crazy. Whatever happens, happens. This is a trial and error type of year. But this is what I'm getting out of Flowery Branch. This is how I feel it. It's my gut feeling. They watching film. They see something that we don't see. They know something that we don't know. That's what they get paid to do. So if, like you just said, JR, if they wanted to walk away from Matt Ryan, good riddance. They can do it anytime if they want to. We cannot overthink this thing, guys. These guys got the equipment and the professionalism and the stuff that we just don't have to build a team and know if they can win now or later. But they still got a grace period with trial and error. And I'm not finna overreact to a Justin Fields or Trey Lance and da-da-da-da-da. I'm not finna go there because I got a former MVP on my team. Right? So if you're gonna restructure this guy, let's fill some holes. If we got a chance to, let's do it. He giving us that opportunity, man.
So let me add one thing to that, Jimbo. And I do believe that, yes, we do have a grace period this year, but we don't have typical players on this team, though. It's like we got one of the top, most productive quarterbacks ever coming in, for a head coach. So I would say this is a team, to me, where a radical transformation is going to happen one way or another, because Matt Ryan and Julio Jones, just with a team this young, something either really good is going to happen, or we're going to have a lot of weeks where we have a lot of our same conversations, because I'm not willing, and again, nobody out there at Pound for Pound Nation, y'all should never be willing to bet against Matt Ryan that he can't win an NFL game. We have a quarterback that can go out any given game and win the game. Not true enough. Things happen. Things will always happen. But if we really look at where this team is right now, we still have Julio Jones on our team. We still have Calvin Ridley on our team. Listen, those are guys. Calvin Ridley will be a number 1 receiver on about 22 or 23 other teams. So let's not act like we rolling out Rudy Poops every game. We rolling out bona fide star, and Russell Gage. Who knows what he's able to do? Like, listen, I think Russell Gage, to be honest with you, he looked further along than Harry Douglas looked at this point in his career. And you saw what we got out of Harry Douglas before, and he got paid in the end. So again, let's call this the time of the year where we just breathe. Let me tell you something. Everybody out here at Falcons Nation, needs to breathe because everybody is so angry about their point that you don't want to hear what the next man gonna do. But let me tell you something. Terry F, he hear everybody's point, but guess what they're gonna do? Exactly what they want to do to win,
Right.
get these butts in the seats. So
go.
let's just calm on down. Good point though, Jumbo. I like it.
Appreciate it.
And you know what? I tell you, I don't mind them wanting to try to win now, but he also said they wanted to win without hurting themselves in the future.
Right.
Okay. If you believe taking a QB at 4, if he's the best player available, you guys know where I stand on that. I don't see any reason why they should, and I don't see any reason why they would. But if he's the best player available, if Zach Wilson were to fall there and he was the best player available on your board, then you're going to take who's the best player on your board. It just all depends on how they got those guys ranked. I don't know a thing. You know what I'm saying? I just know what I know as a fan and what I would like to see as a fan. If any one of them quarterbacks is ranking high for you and they fall there for, you're going to do what you need to do at BPA. So, you know, it is what it is.
Now, Toby D, I got to ask you about it now while we're talking about it. You said BPA. And I like the fact that you bring up BPA because, you know, I was a little hurt now when we talked about this a little bit earlier on the show. I was a little hurt yesterday when I saw Lee Smith. First of all, I had to Google who Lee Smith was. I didn't know who he was. I didn't realize that he has been in the league this long. So I had to get over the sticker shock of Lee Smith. But to be honest with you, you know, I thought when I saw Lee Smith, when I saw Jaden Graham, do we still, you know, are you still wanting to pull that trigger on old Kyle Pitts? Could we use... Could we still use that guy? Are they over? Are we done? Let's talk about it, Toby, because I know how you feel about it, and now's the time to put it out there.
Oh, without a doubt. I think Kyle Pitts is a better prospect than Zach Wilson, Trey Lance, and Justin Fields put together. That's my opinion. That's what I believe. I believe he's ranked higher. Matter of fact, CBS Sports right now, other than Zach Wilson, has him ranked over Justin Fields and Trey Lance. He's in the top 5 right now.
Come on now.
And he's steady rising. And there's many talks about him possibly going in the top 5. And I think he will be a perfect guy for the Falcons to take, a safer pick for the Falcons to take at 4. You can plug in right away and come in and do what he needs to do and improve your red zone struggles instantaneously.
Preach.
Okay? But that's just me. That's just how I think about it.
Good logic.
Go ahead, Jimbo.
Good logic on Toby part. Because you don't restructure Matt Ryan now.
Yes.
You finna have to live with this, Pound4Pound ATL family, Atlanta Falcons fan. You finna have to live with it, whether you don't want to or not. And like JR say, JR is a MR2. That's JR man. Christian Blake is my man. I know I'm a fool for that, but that's my man. We finna have to stand on this hill and we finna have to deal with it. Start building around the guy you finna pay and you owe over $62 million in the next 2 or 3.5 years.
Right.
Start building around it because it ain't going nowhere. Go ahead, Toby.
Well, you already did. You just brought back Matt Ryan's weapons that he had last year and the year before with the wide receivers. All his wide receivers are back.
Come on.
All of them.
Gold standard. Right? And that's the gold standard. That is the gold standard of this offense, which is why we talk about it, because let me tell you something. The most interesting reason why I bring this up, Toby, is I thought it was absolutely fascinating that they put a second-round tender on Matt Gano. Second-round tender. That's telling, Kobe. To me, that says, could that be our left guard? To be honest with you, hey, you and I, we went at it last year about, I said, Toby D, there you go with that Gano stuff. I don't like it. But to be honest with you, what I saw from him going towards the end of the year was a guy that, when given the opportunity, functional player. To be honest with you, and I wouldn't be as naive to say that it wouldn't be a similar situation to like a James Carpenter and a Hennessy last year, where here's the thing. As we talk about free agency, because like I said, the color's green this week. Falcons flirting around with David Andrews, former Falcons center, all of that kind of stuff. What that tells me is that we harp on Penei Sewell every week, but to be honest with you, we might have. I'm not saying this to listen. Gano, put him over Penei Sewell, but if I got to deal with Gano to give me Kyle Pitts and solve some red zone problems.
Right. Oh Lord, yes.
I don't want to hear what you say. I don't want to hear what you have to say about what the Falcons can't do this year. If you give me Kyle Pitts, like ultimately, because matter of fact, the Kyle Pitts haters, I want y'all to go ahead. This is where y'all show up in the chat. This is where y'all get live. Tell these people why y'all tight end. It's horrible. Look at his film and tell me what kind of red zone issues he would not solve. We'll be waiting, and I'm gonna read every one of y'all comments too. So go ahead and keep them rolling. Talk to him, JR. I'm sorry, I'm getting fired up.
Come on in, JR.
Toby D fired up. JR fired up. You know what I mean? Jimbo, JR, go ahead.
No,
Get
well,
him in
like
there,
I said, we're gonna see if I got this fixed. But if
Let's
not,
see
it ain't no
what's-
big deal. They seem to be able to hear y'all just fine. So they could, right?
Oh,
They
okay.
could probably
Yeah, we
use
fired
a
up.
show without me rambling on like crazy.
Oh no, dog. We're gonna lift you up, dog. Let's go.
Right. No.
Hey,
No.
we gonna get through this thing. We always do. We gonna
We
get
Hey,
through.
we just listen. We just 3-point guard. We just alley oop. You just slam dunk, God now. Like all slam
No,
dunk
man.
now. We just
But no,
alley oop
like
until
you
you
know,
slam
people
dunk.
are wondering about Brandon Levy tips us $10 and wants me to extrapolate a little bit. So I'm gonna try to. I'm gonna see if this.
See what I'm saying? Extrapolate, man. Get that man to extrapolate, man. Y'all get him
work
right.
with me and to see if I can extrapolate because I would love to. But the deal, like with the Matt Ryan restructure, with all that going on, like what that tells me is that you are still positioning yourself, in a position to do whatever you want to in the draft, right? If you want to take a quarterback, I get it. I don't like it, but I get it. Okay. If you feel like that's what you're going to need.
Right.
If you don't think next
Right.
year's draft class is going to be better or on par, which I think it will be. I mean, I think there are some solid guys, the kid out of Cincinnati, Ritter, or I think it's Ritter. That might be the Oklahoma guy. The Oklahoma Rattler.
No, Rattler.
Yeah,
You stuck
you
at
got
Spencer
Rattler, you
I
got the Oklahoma
yeah,
kid,
right.
you got the Cincinnati kid, you got another kid coming out of UNC. There's quarterbacks that come out every year. Depending on what we do in the draft, I've got a video in my head right now that I might do later on talking about the sheer amount of quarterbacks that have been taken since Matt Ryan, right? In all rounds, first all the way through, right? And the guys who are now flamed out of the league and have been flamed out of the league who just career backups. So even the guys you're looking at right now are not anywhere close to being solid and safe picks, okay? So just keep that
Right.
in mind, all right? But that goes with any of them, right? When he came out, Eric Ebron was supposed to be the next Gronk, and like he ain't done nothing. You see what I'm saying? So there's no safe pick even in Kyle Pitts, right? That's why you'll see me tend to gravitate towards a, Penei Sewell, Rashawn Slater. But heck, the Chiefs just cut their former first round offensive tackle.
Yeah.
So there's no safe pick.
Yeah.
Myself, if it's me, if I'm sitting in Terry's chair, staring it down, if it goes the way I think it's going to go, QB pick number 1, wide receiver pick number 2, offensive tackle pick number 3, okay? Or QB pick number 3, one or the other. The Dolphins just signed Jacoby Brissett, so that's an interesting thing there. To me, the third round is where it is going to start to get in, or no, the third pick is where it's going to start to get interesting. Okay, and this will tell you what the league thinks. If Carolina jumps us because they've yet to be able to secure their quarterback, then I think that's where it jumps off. If Miami makes their pick, I think you have a real good chance of a Washington or Patriots coming up to our pick and trading with us. You see what I'm saying? But if Carolina jumps to 3, which I think that they have, they sound like they're gearing up for a run. Everybody's pointing at a run towards Deshaun Watson, and I want to get into that here in just a second. But if you jump to pick number 3, you're going after a quarterback, obviously, right? And then at that point, I could see the Patriots needing to jump Washington to get a quarterback. To me, that's your next spot, right? That you need, a quarterback, right? But if we stay at 4 and make our pick, it could be anybody, like dead up. It could be another wide receiver.
It can.
Who's there? It could be Pitts. It could be anybody, and that's what is making this absolutely an amazing draft to try to think about and to try to figure out, right? But I want to get into this Deshaun Watson thing real quick, and I don't want to spend too much time on it. There is a contingency of people out there who automatically think if Deshaun Watson goes to the Panthers, that they become an instant threat. I agree in the way the Panthers are currently constructed. But if the Panthers have to give up Christian McCaffrey, Brian Burns, the first, second, third overall pick, you see what I'm saying?
Lord.
You know, how
yeah.
like how do we automatically think that they're going to be, that he's going to go from one dumpster fire to a potential another, right? Okay, so that's like my thoughts there. It's an interesting thought that I see these people on Twitter just automatically assume wherever Deshaun Watson goes becomes an instant Super Bowl threat when they couldn't win the Super Bowl when he had DeAndre Hopkins, J.J. Watt. You know what I'm saying? He had bona fide stars.
Right.
I'm just saying. That's my thought. I'm not trying to like slam Deshaun Watson. I'm just talking about the narrative that people, you know, think that wherever he goes, they're going to be an instant, you know, Super Bowl favorite. The only time I've seen that happen so far is with Tom Terrific down there in Tampa, because all they needed was a competent quarterback. You had
Right.
Jameis Winston the
but-
year before throwing 30 picks, losing them games. Like all they needed was a competent quarterback.
Right.
They got it, won the Super Bowl. You see what I'm saying? So now, if all y'all are willing, and it seems like my mic is holding up this time around.
That's what they said.
I wanted
they
to
said
go
you
on.
rolling out, JR.
I wanted
What
to go
y'all got?
on a rant just to see what my mic was going to do. So I appreciate everybody.
All right,
Oh, come on, don't do it.
Credit,
See,
credit.
look,
All right,
look now.
No.
Look at you, Mike.
Come on, Mike.
Over here calling up, like calling up demons and stuff. Don't do that.
I just wanted to make sure his mic worked, y'all. His mic worked, y'all. All right, we good.
JR just got on a
Then you
good
gotta-
page.
yeah,
and
then you gotta
bring
go and do
up
that.
and you just bring it
I
back.
had to make sure his mic worked. So his mic
Okay,
worked,
so we're
so
gonna
we
jump
good
into
to go.
chat. We're
It's
about
good to go.
20 minutes too late on it, but I'm
Let's
gonna jump
go.
around. So if I miss your your comments,
I know they on fire.
you know, throw them back in there, and we'll get rolling again. So I apologize about that. We're going to start off with Gregory Brown says, oh, he was talking about my audio. Suicide Beat says, what's up, P4P? What's going on, Suicide? Glad you are here, sir. Jarvis Williams says, what's up, fellas? What's going on? For everybody who said what's up, man, we are so glad that y'all are here. So glad. Speed Falcon for
Appreciate
Life
it.
says, Jeff Schultz is a liar. Don't believe anything he says. I think he's talking about that. Oh, good. Thank
Done.
you, Speed, for clearing that up. I will say this, though. Talking about people like tweeting out like unusual comments. How about that like somewhat backhanded compliment from D. Orlando Ledbetter earlier? Talking about 99 problems and Matt Ryan ain't one. And I was just like, what?
Yeah, I see
Right.
I guess I'll take that as a compliment. That one was funny to see him even giving any kind of praise. 706 DSGB says, would you trade down and get some more picks and a fourth round? Oh, and around the fourth round, we take Kellen Mond. That was what this video was supposed to be this week, right? That's what this live stream, which we're going to do the next Draft House. The free agency fell on a Draft House week, so we kind of needed to focus on this. But our next Draft House, we're going to be talking about potential later round quarterbacks just for that reason. So I hope you come back from that. Gregory Brown says, I see it's very likely they'll be running double tight end sets with the Lee signing. Now, the Lee signing, as we've come to find out, he is strictly a blocking tight end. He is this year's Luke Stalker.
Yeah.
So I don't expect much out of him.
Right.
But yes, if they feel like, plus he's 33 years old and there's a potential he might retire. So we may have just traded a 7th round pick for somebody who's going to retire. And I'm not looking forward to that because that doesn't signal very well to me.
No.
Yeah.
We're gonna trust Arthur Smith on that one.
Yeah.
That's an Arthur Smith move. There's
Yeah.
hold on, what's
Smith.
Lee's last name?
Yeah, right.
Smith,
I got
yeah.
you. We
Yeah.
somebody made that
Put that
statement.
out
We
there.
were trading Matts
Yeah.
for Smiths apparently now.
I got it. We got you. We got you, Arthur.
You
You
gotta
brought
have
your
to get him
cousin
paid,
in.
I
All right,
guess.
cool.
One
Done.
last.
Let's go.
I will
What's
say
up?
this about Lee Smith. I will
Okay.
say this about Lee Smith that may have sparked his retirement talks because he didn't know what his future was in Buffalo. He was hearing rumblings about him
cut.
possibly, being cut and stuff like that anyway. So that may have sparked his decision on saying he may retire. But I think with a new team, and he's playing with a guy in Matt Ryan, who you can say what you want, this guy still will draw people over here to play with him because he drew Dean Pease. I can bet your bottom dollar that Dean Pease thought about that quarterback situation. Nothing against Tannehill. But when you got Tannehill and you don't have the offensive coordinator that he used to over there in Tennessee, no, that's an option that is not going to happen for him.
That's right.
Not sure. You'd rather go somewhere where you got a quarterback, you got Arthur Smith over here, and I think that will definitely help sway Lee Smith's decision of staying if he makes the roster. Because I'm just going to say right now, guys, we don't know if he makes the roster.
From best I can confess in my memory, y'all correct me if I'm wrong, we traded a 7th-round pick from next year for him. Okay.
Yeah, next year.
Yeah.
2022.
Oh, next year? Oh, okay.
You
all
see,
right. Whew, I thought it was
you
this
see what
year.
I'm saying?
So
Like,
that's even
okay,
better. Oh,
fine.
yeah. We give.
Yeah, I have broke it down plenty of times, and I'll continue to do it every year. When you get past the 4th round, now we're talking about backups, like extreme backups, special teamers, and guys who may not even make the roster. Okay, sir.
No question.
Oh, you said no question. I thought
No
you said question. My bad.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I'm
So
just
it's
agreeing
like,
with you. I'm
with
sorry.
that being said, trading 7th-round picks, I got no problem with doing that. Okay, especially future 7th-round picks. That. But yes, I agree that Lee Smith, he's caught himself a couple touchdowns. So good for him. But he seems more like a blocking tight end.
Yeah.
And I got no problem with that. As much as in Tennessee, as much as Arthur Smith used tight ends, we're going to need tight ends. And right now, you have Jaden Graham and Hayden Hurst. So, yeah, you were going to need, and you were definitely going to need a blocking tight end. That is no joke.
No
there.
question. I'm just happy Luke Stalker. What his name? Stalker.
Yeah, get him out of here. You got it right.
Yeah. I'm just glad he's gone. Every time I see him, I remember that one year Matt Ryan. Every time Matt Ryan tried to throw him a ball, it just nothing good happened.
Barely anything good happened when he was on the field.
Get him out of here, baby.
So he wasn't as bad last year.
Get him out of here.
He was his first year. Good Lord.
I think he might have had 14 catches for 28 yards the whole year, like 3 yards here, 2 yards there, negative. Anyway, I'm sorry. Yeah.
Genuine Muse says, I'm glad they restructured Matt. Why should we get rid of a Hall of Famer QB for a maybe? That's always been my point there, right? There's a thought process that I heard on Sports Talk Radio years ago when I was still listening to Sports Talk Radio. It was in reference to Mark Richt up there in the University of Georgia. They were talking about Georgia fans were so afraid to walk away from Mark Richt because he was a consistent coach. And I understand the thought there. This guy would consistently get you, 10 wins or whatever, but he never took you to the promised land.
Yep.
And sometimes I feel like that's how a lot of Falcons fans look at Matt Ryan. They look at Matt Ryan as a, just even keel, consistent, kind of guy, but they don't feel like he's going to take them to the promised land. Now, obviously, we did make it to the promised land with Matt Ryan, as our QB, back in 16.
Right.
We weren't able to seal the deal for various reasons. But needless to say, it could be like somebody brought up John Elway, winning a couple Super Bowls late in his career. You could bring up for as many people that you can point at me that didn't or that haven't won a Super Bowl once they were outside of their rookie contract. I can point to as many guys who have won a Super Bowl in their upper 30s and 40s. You see what I'm saying? So, as I have said plenty of times before, I can make the numbers fit whatever narrative I need them to fit. Okay, if you take the time, and I tweeted this out a couple days ago, didn't really get much traction on it, which is fine, but I think it's probably because people didn't want to admit it. But I tweeted out a stat line, okay, that was almost line by line identical to each other. There was two differences, and the differences were in touchdowns and the differences were in sacks. Okay?
In sacks, yeah.
Now, the touchdowns that were thrown was like 40 touchdowns to 26 touchdowns. Now, almost the reverse opposite, the sacks were 40 some odd, like 45, 46 sacks to 20, 21 sacks. Okay, so the guy who didn't get sacked very much, Tom Brady. The guy who did get sacked a lot, Matt Ryan. The guy who threw more touchdowns, Tom Brady. The guy who didn't, Matt Ryan. Now, I wonder if there's a correlation. How many drives got stalled and killed because of a late sack or something of that nature, right? How many times did we get close to a red zone and weren't able to convert because of a drive-killing sack or whatever? I don't have time to go back from, line by line or whatever. And Adam Holloway is over here talking about the evidence is damning, though, for a 38-year-old QB. I get it. I understand. I know the evidence is damning. I've looked at it. You can look at Drew Brees' career. You can look at Phillip Rivers' career. But you can also look at Tom Brady's career. You can also look at Peyton Manning's career. It doesn't have to follow the same narrative. It's all in how you build the team. That is one of the things that has absolutely drew me to football. This is a team sport. Period. Point blank.
Oh yeah.
Like Jimmy, you and Mike, y'all know. Y'all played it. Right? I didn't play it.
Right. Oh, yeah.
I got too high of a self-preservation gene. So it didn't allow me to play football, right? That whole getting hit thing, right? I didn't like it. Yeah. I got a pretty face. I didn't want to mess my face up. You know what I'm trying to say?
Yeah, but and it's constant
every day, all the time.
Every day, I'm telling you, every day. You might come out there with a good attitude. Somebody's
exactly.
always
that angry guy gonna win every time.
One person out there is angry, always, every time. Anyway,
if one player can make a team. Now I understand what Tom Brady did down there, but Tom Brady walked into a defense. He had a defense all them years out there with the Patriots. People can look at this how they want to look at it now. But if you want to put one thing on one man's shoulder when it comes to a team sport, when you're in the foxhole with 11 other guys on the field at one time, it's impossible to say this one guy is the default to blame for
and
everything.
Look,
and that's just how you can't look at it that way. But I mean,
and like I said, as I said, and it's something I have noticed, and so therefore I want to keep saying it so people don't mistake where I'm at, what I'm about, right? And I'm a Matt Ryan fan. He's my quarterback. That's the hill I'm gonna die on. So obviously I'm gonna take up for him, right? But
yeah,
to lay it all at his feet is just the product of being the quarterback. Okay.
One more thing, JR. I think, and see, you are a Matt MR2 guy. No problem with that. I am a trends guy, and I'm looking at the trends right now. I'm not looking at the emotions. I'm not looking at, Trey Lance is sitting right there. Look, Randall Cunningham Jr. can be sitting there, and it's not going to matter because right now, Tom Brady is in the NFC South. Right. Who do we have to see twice a year? Tom Brady. We have to beat it. Listen, you get to the Super Bowl by being competitive in your division. And you ask yourself right now, go back, it goes back to that right now. If I look at the next couple of years, true enough, Matt Ryan does have his flaws. He does have his deficiencies. Heck, we could even do a show where look at Matt Ryan's deficiencies, where he missed the throw, where he underthrew the guy. We could go on and on.
The weirdness that happens when he gets to the red zone.
Yeah.
Like, dude, I'm a big Matt Ryan stan, as the new term is.
Right.
But I'm not oblivious to the downsides of Matt Ryan.
And the problem is this, and see, here's the problem. If we don't get a team to be on par with the Bucs, we can start getting beat 56-0. We got that new quarterback, y'all. Guess what? We got Justin Fields. Great, he's here. We're losing 56-7, and the Bucs are starting a 3-year run at a Super Bowl. So we have to ask ourselves, and this is football. Football is not like basketball where it's a long season. Baseball, it's 162 games. It's hard, before the draft even happens to say, we're just going to go ahead and tank. We're going to, just whatever happens. We'll see what happens. And like you said, if you get hit in football, nobody is going out there like, we're just going to tank. That's how you get hurt. We're just going to see what happens. Matter of fact, we've seen these Falcons teams that just go out there and say, we're just going to see what happens. And everybody, you know why we are here? Because we've seen those games too. We've watched those games where, wow, that sucks. So guess what? if you've been patient enough to last this long, that means you know what? A lot of the stuff you're talking, you know that you're gonna see this free. You're gonna see this team through. You're
Yeah,
still
you
gonna
are.
watch the games.
Yeah.
You're gonna complain next
Yeah,
week, and guess what? We'll
right.
be here next week.
And
so
the
keep it
last
rolling.
thing I'll say on all this, and we can move on to a different topic. We can do what we can crank Toby back up because he ain't talked in a minute. So we can,
Yeah, let's get Toby.
Oh, no, I'm good. I'm good.
Nah, we just vibing tonight, man.
My next statement,
Enjoying
and hear me right when I say this, I'm not oblivious to think that we're going to win the Super Bowl next year or this year. I mean, the chances of that happening with the roster that we have right now are slim. I get it. Like, it would take a lot to make that happen. It's not like a Tampa situation where they had a ready-made team for Tom Brady to walk into and go right. I get it. I'm not.
Okay.
Yeah.
And I'm sorry. One more. I cut you off. But if you're right though, because you're right. We're talking fringe playoff. I'm just gonna be real. We're gonna put it out there. Fringe playoff right now because, not to be a funny comedian guy, but it's like if Tom Brady's on the golf course right now and Tom Brady, you want to hear a joke? And he would say what? And they would say the Falcons pass rush. He would literally probably start laughing right now because he knows that a Falcon hadn't touched him in 10 to 12 years. So ultimately, we know that. Listen. There is nobody, and I look, that's another show, but I'll tell you this: the Falcons had two scouts today at UGA. Pro Day,
and for everybody who wants to get, I'm gonna cut you off real quick, but for everybody who wants to get up in arms about, Arthur Smith and Terry Fontenot being at Trey Lance's, they were also at Georgia's. So
yes, sir. Yeah. And let me tell you who they were wrapped around today. The guy that we talked about the last couple of weeks, Azeez Ojulari. Let me tell you something. And they measured him. That's a 4'6" guy. He is built, I'm telling you, like one of those next great AFC pass rusher guys that you see just go to the AFC and be productive. The Judons, the Yannick Ngakwe's, those guys. We never get those guys. We never look at those guys. We never interview those guys. Guess what? We've never gone to those guys' pro days because you know why? We got stuck with Jamal Anderson with the 8th pick. We got stuck with, we could go on and on. Toby, I was about to say, me and Toby could probably go back and forth for about 10 minutes about pass rushers that we missed on, but to see these guys there talking to the Azeez and Eric Stokes again, shout out to Eric Stokes. He another guy. They said that, hey, they don't know where he'll get drafted. He's a 4th-round guy. Somebody in the comments, somebody messaged me on Twitter and said he was a 4th-round guy, but running a 4.28 in the 40 is not a 4th-round guy.
No.
So it's time we kind of raise our expectations on what we got available to us. And I think, like I said, this is a year where it's a lot of fools go, but some of these guys in these pro days is looking like, man,
there's
a lot of talent
comment earlier I wanted to speak on here. It says it was from Adam Holloway. He says my biggest issue, and this is the point I was trying to make at earlier. He says my biggest issue is the team is capped out. Talking about their cap situation, capped out, holes all over the place, and he says you don't think the move is to collect yourself, play with youth, and develop your roster. Yeah, that's exactly what I think is going to happen. We are capped out. You can't get into. We're not going to get into signing much of anybody right now, okay? We're going to get some dregs. We're going to get some bottom-of-the-barrel kind of guys, and that's what that's going to be. Yeah. But what I can hope for is for experienced coaches, especially on the defensive side, to come in and work some magic. I can definitely hope for that. I can hope for Dean Pease, who has – done a lot with a little in other places. It's because of him that you even knew who a Paul Kruger was. You know what I'm saying?
Right. That's what we got to bank on, JR. We got to bank on this coaching staff.
So that's the deal there.
Right. And you're right. And JR, you're absolutely right. Jumbo, we got to bank on this coaching staff because I'll be honest with you. When the Falcons struggled a lot last year, it was Dan Quinn every week. Dan Quinn. Never about the players, what they were doing, the execution. Now, ultimately, now that Dan Quinn is gone, guess what we're doing? We're talking about the players and so-and-so didn't do this and that. But ultimately, this was a team that was still in games. This is a team that I'm telling you, that same team put the Gator Chiefs everything they want. Matter of fact, this is still the same team that gave the blueprint to beat the Chiefs. Tampa Bay, it was like they had already seen this team when they played them. Kansas City didn't have a chance when Tampa Bay showed up. So, and these are the same guys. And we're talking about a Foy Luakon that has picked off Patrick Mahomes We know these guys.
Right.
These guys ain't gonna just come out there and lay down. I refuse to believe that this team is gonna come out and just not play under Dean Pease, play organized and disciplined. Give me a disciplined Falcons defense, and let's see where we go.
I'm with you 100% on it.
I gotta agree with you on that, Mike. I agree with you on that. And one of the first shows we did when we joined Pound4Pound ATL, we did a Coaching Matters. And that show is coming. Please believe Pound4Pound ATL. That show is coming. And so that's what we, like JR said, that's what we're going to have to bank on. These guys believe in themselves. That's the thing. Did that last coaching regime, did they believe in themselves? I really don't think so.
No.
But I believe in a John Holtz now over Joe Wick Jr., which we beat into the ground. Good God, man. Joe Wick Jr., we missed that too much. But I believe in a John Holtz, and I think this coaching staff is more confident than the last regime was, JR.
And that's definitely the deal. Now, Archangel just put up a message that I think is a message that's on a lot of Falcon fans' minds. So I want to voice it and get y'all's opinion. He says, and what if we have a decision to pick Zach, Justin, or Lance, and we pass on them, and one of those guys ends up being a generational player? You just don't know. Just saying. I agree 100%. That right there is what they call the fear of the unknown. Okay? There's two sides to that particular coin. You have the fear of the unknown and the fear of missing out. Okay? And those two things walk hand in hand, right? And you're going to what if until the cows come home. I guarantee you right now, if you go find some Chicago Bears live stream where their fans are talking like we're talking, they're bemoaning the fact that they picked Mitch Trubisky instead of Patrick Mahomes or Deshaun Watson.
Yep.
After hearing today that their team tried to trade 3 first-round picks, 2 starting players, and like a third and a fourth to get Russell Wilson.
And a third.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So look,
and they turned
that is a true 100% real possibility. We could go into this draft, stay at 4, pick a Kyle Pitts, pass on a Justin Fields, which I know in this particular community, that's what everybody's afraid of, right? You pass on the hometown kid. He goes to, God forbid, Carolina, and you have to stare at him for, I mean, how sick were you Georgia fans? And I do say you because, as I've said many times before, I'm not a college fan. Yeah. I watch college tape afterwards, right? But how sick were you Georgia fans watching Justin Fields in a national championship game? Because I heard it all year long. What? Oh, we should have kept Fields.
Oh, yeah.
Go ahead, Jimbo.
You know what I'm saying? We should have done this.
Ahead,
we should, even though, to my understanding, it was Justin Fields who transferred. I don't know if you really could have kept him. I don't know how that works. Y'all could educate your boy maybe one day. Yeah. But Tev Sports is over here saying I was sicker than COVID. But that's the thing. But I think that's what you have going on right now. I think for Falcons fans, like there are teams out there. Right. Do you not think Chicago fans would love to have a Matt Ryan? Do you not think that heck, even Giants fans may not even be, or Giants and Jets fans aren't sold on their quarterbacks? Do you think they would love to have a Matt Ryan? And we're Falcon fans over here ready to usher him out the door.
And I think, to be honest with you, man, like, look, you can hate it, love it, like it, meet me in between. If you give me a Kellen Mond in the 3rd round, 4th round, and I'm gonna do more shows on him because I'm starting to zero in on a guy that I really want to see. Hey, behind Matt Ryan, I don't worry about the quarterback room. You draft Kellen Mond, you don't really worry about the quarterback room. That's a guy that if he develops, I'm telling you, really a player. I think, like I said, he could be really good. I don't really want to go on Kellen Mond because see now it's unpopular. Now they're gonna tune us out because we're gonna start talking about Kellen Mond. We're not talking about the trio, and they're gonna get upset. But hey, we got to give it how we give it. And to be honest with you, listen, hey, Trey Lance, I saw the smoke. I saw the Terry F just kind of being there and run this offense and run Arthur Smith. They've talked to him. They got a feel for him. And again, I go to Terry F being a player personnel guy. He knew how to ask the right questions. And again, you know, I just have to go where this is where we really got to ask ourselves, And Dimitrov, he came in from the Patriots organization, an organization that was, doing well, similar to Terry F. But I do think that, Terry F was a little bit better of a scout and evaluator of talent, even, just his entire career than Dimitrov. I'm going to trust him, again, in this draft, and I won't go into the lands, and we'll have more time to do that.
Got a month.
See that, but
But
like I said,
we go back to what JR was saying. We gotta trust in
we
this
can
new
do at this
regime,
juncture.
man.
we got
gotta
to
put trust in them.
Right.
They put trust in themselves. I believe. I trust them. I think they can develop better than the last regime did. That's just what I believe.
That was to me, the development. You just hit on it there, Jim. The development was the downfall of Mike Smith and became the downfall of Dan Quinn. So I don't know if it was a trickle-down effect from Thomas Dimitrov. If he told him, don't worry about it, we'll get you somebody else. I don't know. We're not privy to that type of information. But
that's a tag team failure. I'm sorry to cut you off. That's a tag team failure because you're a defensive guy. You draft Takk McKinley. You draft Vic Beasley. You're a defensive guy. I keep saying that. I'm a defensive guy, and I'm drafting, and I'm aiding in duds. That's the word I got. Tag team failure. Like that's nope. I fail. You fail.
And then it didn't help with the contracts that Thomas Dimitrov was handing out. Best of my memory, or best of my looking at it, we're still paying Desmond Trufant not to be on this team. So that's interesting, right, in and of itself.
Go ahead and segue into what we was talking about before we got on here, JR. Go ahead and sway over to that comment Thomas Dimitrov made about Julio Jones. Go ahead and swag in that.
So how does man gonna do an interview, Thomas Dimitrov? Gonna do an interview, and Toby, I want to get your thoughts on this one. But how you gonna do an interview and say that you're arguably one of the only things that people give you credit for hitting on, you wouldn't have done, and that's trading up and drafting Julio Jones. Talking about had he had a chance to do it again, he wouldn't have done that. I just when I saw that quote come out, I was like, really? That's the one thing you regret? That's what you regret in your tenure is drafting Julio Jones? Trading up to draft him? Thinking that kind of set us back and, messed up our depth from. No, part of what messed up your depth was, trading up to take 2 offensive linemen in the first round. That kind of thing. He always was trading a 3rd round pick for something. Toby, how did you feel when that came across?
First of all, this player should have told him not to say nothing stupid like that ever in his life. Okay, Julio Jones was the best 21 spot jump up he made. That's a Hall of Famer. Now, he may not be on this roster after this year. I can see him truly gone. Not because I want him to, but I think Matt Ryan's going to outlast him. But he definitely was not a mistake. Julio Jones is the reason why you almost single-handedly beat the San Francisco 49ers by yourself. Okay? The man had 180-something yards and 2 touchdowns in the first doggone half.
Right.
Now, he comes in the Super Bowl and makes one of the most still spectacular catches you will ever see. Puts you in position to win. Right. And y'all need to know, if you have not read that book or got the audio version of Good Company, you want to get Arthur Blank's takes on that, because he has some very interesting takes on that Super Bowl, by the way. But I'm not gonna blow it. So you can go get it. But anyway, that was the best decision you made, Thomas Dimitrov. So for you to sit there and say something like that, I don't know if Scott Pioli was in his ear and say, hey, in order for you to get another GM job, you need to confess a mistake of taking Julio Jones and jumping up, take him at number 6. No, Doc, sit your behind down somewhere, okay? Because that was dumb. And you may not now get a job at all for saying something dumb like that.
I agree. I completely agree.
Right,
Toby, right. Hey, you know what? I'm sorry, real quick, because I agree with everything Toby D said. Like, that's what you call. That's why in breakups there's amicable breakups and non-amicable breakups. That's what you call that non-amicable talk right there. He sounds like a person that's a little bit bitter. Like, hey, would you have traded for? No, I wouldn't have traded for Julio Jones. I wouldn't have went up those 21 picks, but you did, and it fared out very well for your career. So you're right. It sounded like you was a little bit on the bitter side in that interview. A little hurt. Yeah,
that's all it was.
We get it, Thomas. We we get it, man. But,
No, it's like
oof.
yeah, no, yeah. When I saw that, I was like, you got to be kidding me. You're right. That sounded like that had like real ringings of. You remember when who was it? Hugh Jackson, the interview he gave after he got fired by the Browns. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, yeah.
That's what that one seemed like, and so
That's
he was very
salty.
salty, very
That's
salty.
exact-
Ashes says, we're talking about you were talking about Kellen Mons and all this other stuff. Says Ash says all people talk about how we need to bring back Fields home, but no one talks about how we need to bring Davis Mills home. He's, I believe, another Marietta kid. I think he played out there in Stanford.
Oh, yeah, and he played at Great Atlanta. Hey, Great
there
Atlanta
you go.
Christian kid too. Like he's a private school single. I remember him because they were playing. It was just how here in Georgia, for most of us here in Georgia, but when the high schools on Friday they play, you see the smaller schools, and every now and then, you just see one of those kids from those smaller schools. It's like, man, this guy looks like wherever he goes, he's just gonna be a surefire guy. And I think that. He just don't make mistakes. Now, again, Davis Mills is a guy, hometown guy, won't be a sexy pick. Nobody will, but again, he's a guy that if Matt Ryan, something were to happen to him in a game, I would be comfortable with a Davis Mills backing up Matt Ryan for the foreseeable future. And again, if you don't believe it, check his highlights out. Stanford kid, smart kid, does not make bad decisions. Not a flashy guy, but will not make bad throws and put your team in a bad position.
Exactly.
So I'm glad. See, some of the fans have gotten past the anxiety of the top three, and they are willing to have this conversation. Y'all see this, right?
Right.
We bringing up Davis Mills. So
Oh
let's
yeah,
bring up more of these guys because these
the
are going to be
chat
the guys that we need
they're
to get
having a good
familiar with.
conversation about like Trask over Felipe Franks, and somebody said he couldn't Franks couldn't beat out Trask, and then somebody else countered. The champ countered with the point of Fields couldn't beat out From. So
Come
yeah,
on,
right.
Let's go. See, now listen, Pound for Pound family. That's the
We're
kind
gonna
of
get into it.
conversation we need. Keep it going.
The conversations are now at least opening up since we've seen what happened with Matt Ryan's restructuring. Now, this don't mean, like you said, Jeff shows that out there. They're saying necessarily this does not change them still thinking about taking a quarterback at number 4. And of course, you got to put that play out there, and you had to come out and say what you said in order to let it be known that don't get this confused and thinking you have pegged on us on what we're going to do. We can still take a QB at number 4 if you want to. So the door is still open. Number 4 is up for sale. If y'all thinking you still want to jump up there, we still going to listen to and fill your phone calls. So don't think because we restructured Matt Ryan that we're not still open or possibly taking a quarterback in the number 4 spot.
Hey, and another thing, San Francisco 49ers, we see y'all been spending a lot of money. Y'all got the offensive lineman. If y'all need to come up there and give us a little something, to trade down, we'll talk to you, Shanahan. You know the number. Hey,
you know the address. I'm gonna go ahead and call it like.
I know one thing. Draft night.
Oh, dude, draft night's gonna be a blast. I hope y'all.
I'm
sure there's gonna be a lot of people out there live streaming. I hope y'all join us at least for a little while, because we're gonna live stream the whole first round, and we're gonna have fun doing it.
No question.
So yeah, that's something I am very much looking forward to, because the chat's going to explode regardless of what happens, and I am ready for it.
Right. I can't wait till y'all see Kyle Pitts, Atlanta Falcons, and then y'all at Mike Dub on Twitter.
Fan Till Death says, if we end up using the 4th, which I'm not the biggest fan of, we will either get a weapon or protection from Matt. It would be better to get more value for that 4th and get some defensive pieces. Yeah, I mean, look, I'm with you. I want to trade down. Like get me in the the Washington or even Patriots area, and let me grab a Parsons or Azeez Ojulari or something of that nature in that area, and I'll give Dean Pease something to play with as far as pass rushing is concerned. Because they had to have a little bit of faith in Dante Fowler, because they could have saved $10 million by cutting him.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Which they didn't do. They asked him to take a little pay cut and keep him on the roster. Now there's reports coming out that we're wanting to meet with Brandon Copeland of the Jets / Patriots / I don't even know, dude. When I looked him up, I was like, oh, that's interesting, until I looked him up. Then I tweeted out, no, that's not interesting. Never mind. I changed my mind. His best year, he had 5 sacks with the Jets.
I just want to know, is he going to get a steak dinner get to go on
No,
the
man,
running
you
private
gonna
jet because
you gonna meet him down at the Chick-fil-A. You gonna meet him.
JR.
Hey,
Man, we got to have hospitality now.
Toby D, he
Curbside.
get curbside, baby. That boy getting curbside.
Meet with Copeland. Anyway,
Go ahead and pick it up,
I
baby.
was, when I saw that, I was like, oh, you got to be kidding me. So far, the moves that they're looking at making outside of the team, outside of the restructures, is to bring a 33-year-old blocking tight end that you're trading a future 7th round for, and a Brandon Copeland, which, what? I mean, when you got guys like who are still out there and Kenny Vaccaro, Jaden Scheffler talking about Malik Hooker and Adoree Jackson, I mean, you still got quality names sitting out there on the free agency, right? So, granted, I know right now, according to Spotrac, we only got $2 million, but as Toby brought up before the chat or before stream started, we already passed that New Year mark. We can go crazy with the cap now and figure it out next year. You know what I'm saying?
Go crazy.
So
exactly.
Bring me an Adoree Jackson. Bring me a Malik Hooker. Bring me a Kenny Vaccaro. Bring me a it's a Ryan Wonder says Copeland and Smith equals Super Bowl. That's right.
That's right. That's right.
Speaking of that,
right.
now we've already bumped up over an hour, so we're going to start wrapping this thing up here in a minute. But I just want to get, it's going to be real interesting. We always hear about how teams that win free agency don't win playoffs. I wonder if that same thing's going to apply to your boys up north and the evil empire of New England. Because, my God, the man who don't draft nobody and don't sign nobody tried to sign everybody in one day.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he did.
He's
desperate measures.
Boy. And think about it like this.
Tom Brady won a Super Bowl without him.
Yeah.
Hey, right, and showed them. And listen, you think about it, our most winningest game last year as Falcons fans was free agency. We remember Dante Fowler, Todd Gurley. You know what? If we're quiet this year, worse things have happened. You know, more worse things have happened in Falcons history.
No doubt. You know I am. I like I said, this offseason is already shaping up to be a lot of fun because there's so much just out of left field. At this junction, nothing can surprise me because I don't know what I should be thinking, right? I don't know if honestly, I'm not going to sit here and lie to you. I don't know if I should be thinking rebuild or retool because those are.
I don't know what to think.
I'm actually in the same boat you in, man, because I hear Rich McCann when he said with the base of our roster, he know we can win.
I'm looking at this roster going, are we looking at the same one?
I don't know if we doing it. I don't know if we do.
All right. So look. Let's do this. Is what we should do. We should look at this same Falcons team with the same lens we looked at when Raheem Morris took in. Like, all right, man. You know what? We've seen worse. Let's just see. Let's see what kind of football is played. In some weeks it was cool, and then some weeks it was tough to watch. Like, think about it. We played the Raiders. We was man, this team might do something, and then we played, I don't know, the Buccaneers or, and we look like this team. Like, so you don't.
We play the Chiefs and hold them to nothing. I got you. No, I'm with you. The part that I'm excited about, honestly, is I'm excited to see how quick we pick up Arthur's offense, right? I've watched a lot of his offense. It, on the surface, doesn't seem to be, like, super complicated. It seems to be efficiency seems to be a major, like, the word that comes to mind when it comes to Arthur Smith and his offense. But I'm really interested to see what Dean Pease is going to do with this defense. Looking at what he has done with players in the past. We always look at numbers and stuff like that. Like what he was able to get out of Logan Ryan makes me excited at what he might be able to do with Isaiah Oliver. Like he might actually find a useful role for Isaiah Oliver, right? So I'm really interested. Like safety play seems to be pretty important for Dean Pease. Right now, you have one quality safety on the roster, so you got to do something there. So I'm really interested to see what they end up doing at safety. Do they trade down in the draft and pick up a Morig, or pick up who's like another high safety? My brain is lost. Grant, that's it.
Richard Grant. I mean, hey, you could go Richard Grant,
LeCount,
Richard LeCount. I mean,
exactly.
It's a lot of safeties in this draft.
I'm really interested to see how this defense comes together under Pease and what he's able to do.
Yeah.
And, you know, is it a deal where he's setting up for his boy to take over kind of deal? Ghost Pepper, which he said something earlier and I missed it, but I always try to read our regulars quotes or comments. It says, what put the Super Bowl's teams over the top is a bunch of players on rookie contracts playing at a really high level. The Bucs got a great production out of Wirfs, Goodwin, White, Winfield, and the whole secondary. That's the thing, you know. It's like and even in our own Super Bowl run, you were getting high play out of Deandre Campbell and Deion Jones and Keanu O'Neal, and you know what I'm saying.
Yeah.
You were getting high level play out of those.
Poole. Yeah, we struck gold with Brian Poole. I think, you know, and I think that it is the stamp of, you know, it's like the coaching staff to me, they ain't done anything to prove us wrong, but it looked like good hands right now. You know, Arthur Blank's book is good business, but it's almost like Allstate a little bit because, you know, like I said, Terry F, he comes ready. He looks like he's ready. Arthur Smith looks like he is not playing. He got an idea of what he wants. Matter of fact, he might see something that he's like, Dean Pease, come on out of retirement. Come on, I see something that it might be a way that we can use this.
I challenge you all, like, if you get a chance to go back and watch some Dean Pease in Baltimore. Go back and watch some Dean Pease in New England. Like, there was a guy, I can't even remember the gentleman's name now, who under Dean Pease running that defense had like double-digit sacks one year, and I had never heard of the guy's name. And once Pease left, the guy went back to being just anonymous.
Right.
And Dean Pease has done that everywhere he's been, and that's the part that gets me excited. Like, did you realize that for Tennessee, Harold Landry had double-digit sacks the years under Dean Pease?
Oh, yeah, out of Boston College, yeah.
Okay, you know what I'm saying? Like, and I keep bringing up Logan Ryan because it's such a shocker to see what he was in other places and what he became under Dean Pease. Like, Logan Ryan had almost 10 sacks himself. Like, I'm going to pull it up real quick and see if I can get to it before anybody, like, loses their interest. But, like, Logan Ryan under Dean Pease is such a interesting case study that I would challenge anybody to go back and look at where he was at. Let's see here. Under Tennessee in 2019. Yeah, okay, that's what it was. I was wrong on that. But under Dean Pease in 2019, Logan Ryan had 4.5 sacks. The year before, he had 4 sacks.
Yep.
With 4 tackles for loss. This is a cornerback. You know what I'm saying? Like, the creativity of Pease is something that I find very intriguing and hope that he brings, you know, to the Falcons. And if we're looking at track record, you know, he's done that everywhere he's been. And that's the part that gets me excited about him, and I hope he keeps it up. Gentlemen, we have bumped up almost to an hour and 15 minutes. I'm gonna chalk up about 15 minutes of those to my audio issues. Once I got those fixed, then y'all had to listen to me ramble. Y'all almost got out of it.
Oh, no. We weren't trying to get out of it.
No.
This thing up.
A quick shout out to Brandon Coy. Yep, I do got on the Atlanta United soccer jersey. I appreciate it. I will give a shout out to Ashes, who said Cisco or the LeCount. I'll take LeCount because he's in the SEC. And Tony Wright, you made it. You a little late, but you can still watch it. Now this show ain't going nowhere. The JR ain't gonna take it off of YouTube. It'll still be up there, Tony. You here?
Yeah. I mean, you can go back and pull it up on the archive. So yeah, it's always there. And we'll be back next week. I think next week, unless something crazy happens, it'll be a draft house week. And we'll probably get into the later round quarterback talk, which is something I'm interested in doing. So, as always, folks, y'all can catch me on Twitter. It's sad we got over 3,000 subscribers, and your boy ain't even got 300 followers on Twitter. Oh no.
Well.
Anyway, no, it's all good. It's all good. Follow me if you want to, right? So. I'm on Twitter at Grim1128. It's GRIMM1128. Jimmy?
You can catch me on Twitter at Jimmy Obama, JIMMYOBAMA, and I do read and I do follow back. Toby.
October 1991, and I got to say this Monday, I will be back
There it
with
is.
the think tank.
Ooh.
And everybody's been talking about Arthur Smith's offense. Now I'm going to get to share what I see that is similar to Kyle Shanahan more
Good
so
deal,
than
good
what
deal.
you
I
think.
like it.
Ooh, I can't wait to see that.
And
There it
real
is.
quick, follow me at Mike Dub, MIKE_DUB. Toby D, I'm already fired up in advance for that. Thank you. Y'all definitely tune into that. And man, I hope y'all
That's
enjoy
it.
y'all St. Patrick's Day, man. You know what?
Right.
And y'all should be feeling real good. I ain't gonna say what came out today for a lot of people, because I will say this though. Leave me some crab legs at the
There you go.
at the Kroger. I'm going to Kroger now. Please save me some crab legs.
Anyway, gentlemen, all right, everybody, we appreciate it. And as always, Falcons fans, rise up.